talking about this elemental resistance we have to build with urgency.
We've got bigger cuts coming than there was in Thatcher, yet I think the grassroots shop steward movement is not as strong as it was then. And that's why Jerry Hicks' campaign is vitally important, and we should give time for Jerry to say why he's standing in the election. Because it can have a fundamental change within the Labour Party. A fundamental change in stopping the cuts that are coming forward. If you start having, trade union leaders saying, do you know what, we're going to have to unite, and we're going to have to do this, and we're going to have to stop this. If the trade unions start putting forward principal positions in stopping, not doing deals, but stopping what's going on, people will join those trade unions and get involved.
It was said that we need to put pressure on the unions to demand of Labour the right things, the right policies. Absolutely right. But let's just, for a moment, grasp the scale of it within Unite. Tens of millions of pounds from one union. £11 million since 2005. I tell you, that's the Conservative estimate. In the last few months alone, several millions of pounds, huge amounts of hours of labour. If you take in the wages, all that united in one union, ploughed into Labour to get them re-elected, whilst the 13 years, 3 terms of office had no idea nor rationale or want to repeal any anti-union legislation that our union slavishly carried on because it wanted to. Now, what does £11 million buy in the last few years? Well, it certainly didn't buy silence. Lord Adonis, Lord Unelected, he berated by deploring a legal legitimate strike of Unite members in VA. 24 hours later, so did Gordon Brown. Why? Because they were being goaded and chided by Cameron. He said, you're in hock to the unions. We wish. But they responded by attacking the union. It got worse though. Our Assistant General Secretary, Derek Simpson, said that 12 days of strike action was over the top. Not the anti-union legislation, the strike action agreed by the strike committee. Before all that, we had balloted 80%, 92% strike action. One judge on a technicality ruled out the democratic will of thousands of our members. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's a crime, not that BA went to court, and now we hear about the NUJ, and of course the RMT know all about that, or the judge ruled in behalf of their class. The crime was that they still could, after 3 terms of a Labour government, and Unite, the biggest union, potentially the most powerful, ploughing millions of pounds, allowed it to happen. I know who the enemy is. The enemy is the government or employers who smashed the pensions, closed the workplaces. I know that. But the union became part of the problem, not the solution. Now, BA, I'll just round up on BA and then go on to 2 other points, Chair, I promise you. BA, if I couldn't get any angrier than I am right now, BA and I went to the first strike day. That's called solidarity. I bet I saw most of you there as well. If you didn't go on the first day, you went before. And you've been on previous strikes and demonstrations. It's called solidarity. This is what I saw from an Assistant General Secretary of our union, a candidate in this election, who wants the 100-odd grand, the crown, the gown, the throne to sit on. Leave it up to me, I'll sort Unite out. An Assistant General Secretary who is part of the problem, not the solution. Takes the rostrum, says the right thing, and this is the problem. If you say the right thing but walk away, the credibility gap is like a chasm, the Grand Canyon. So, what did I see? What did I see on this fabulous struggle of working people against the bully, which absolutely is Willie Walsh? An Assistant General Secretary, a candidate in this election, the biggest union. Although all elections are important, I chuffed to bits when Mark Sawatka got re-elected. He said, we're going to stand up to the bully that's Willie Walsh. Absolutely right. And then without drawing breath, he said, but because cameras are here, I can't call a BA striker onto this rostrum because they will be disciplined by Willie Walsh. How is that standing up to the bully that's Willie Walsh? Brown condemns it with Lord Adonis, Our Assistant General Secretary says 12 days is over the top, and now we can't call a striker on the rostrum in a legitimate legal strike, balloting twice through all the hoops, all the anti-union legislation. But if I couldn't get any angrier, that night, on television, on BBC, News at 10, one of our strikers, one of our members. But it was a darkened studio with an actor's voice. This was the only way that a member of the biggest union in the country, potentially the most powerful, ploughing millions into what was then the Labour government, could feel protected. That's in the gutter, staring up. Now that's the scale of the problem, but listen. Last summer, not swine flu was the big epidemic, it was occupations. Not over there, Greece, Spain, France, well they do that, the weather's better. It was over there, it was Enfield, over there in Basildon, in Belfast, in Waterford, near where I live, it was a swimming bath. In Bridgewater, the council actually said we're going to build a new one. They didn't believe them and occupied the old one. Now these are the places that are going to be won or lost. Our struggle is where the fight is. Because leadership matters, it absolutely does. Leaders lead, people should control. Members of the union should have control of that leader. Imagine a Bob Crow figure, or a Mark Sawatka figure, or anyone, frankly, who made a contribution this morning, and in this room this afternoon, whether you've made a contribution or not. Imagine being the leader of the biggest union in the country, and it is potentially the most powerful, that you were that leader. Because I am you. I am not an Assistant General Secretary of the union that's been part of the problem, not the solution. When I was offered a job, I turned it down. That's called principle. That was appointment. I'm about elections and being controlled. So any one of us in that next fight, that next struggle, that next occupation, imagine yourself as the General Secretary of the biggest union in the country, joining that unofficial occupation, that strike, that fight. That will instill the confidence, absolutely. Whether you're in Unite or not, whether you're in the union or not, whether you're a pensioner or not, that will instill the confidence. So you imagine that for a moment, and then I'll say, dare to dream. Because you, me, any of us can win that election if enough of us get behind it. Thanks very much, Chair.